G'day everyone, welcome to the How to Halo Magnum tutorial part 3. So you made it, we're here. Hopefully your design has come along quite well and you've been able to follow the progress of the tutorial so far. So of course, we're closing in on getting that final result, getting it ready, and then all you need to do is paint. But not just yet. First we're going to have to add all these individual little pieces to make it look boss. So let's jump right in where we left off. Okay, so we're going to start carving the very fine details into this prop. So you can cut out the template, which I've just done, and you can start scoring out with the blade this individual detail. Once you've done all those little segments, we can then take them onto the foam and start tracing out their positions. Because then we're going to have to grab a knife and we're going to have to very carefully bevel out each individual one of these segments as carefully as you can. Because if you accidentally cut into the extra segments next to it, the design is going to look a bit strange and it's going to be very hard to kind of recover the look. So you're going to have to use the bevel technique to take your time on this segment and push each individual piece into the foam, and then hopefully it'll look pretty cool. And as you can see, I was right. When you get this kind of detail into the prop, it really stands out and looks quite nice, but it is very hard to do and does require a lot of practice and a very sharp knife, so ensure you have one when you attempt that segment. Alright, on to more little tiny pieces of detail. So this is the inner grip of the handle, so you go ahead and cut out the little oval-like object and then trace it onto the foam. Now we're going to have to carve some extra pieces of foam to build up the raised effect to give the gun a nice little 3D form. And we can use that just by grabbing some scrap pieces of styrofoam that can fit the design and then slowly trim it out of the main core. Once you get it to a nice thickness, it doesn't have to be overly thick, maybe about 1/4 of an inch, you can then just place it on top and it should look quite nice. Hopefully you managed to follow that. Now we'll start on the main top section. So exactly like you did before with the small hand grip, we're going to do it on a bit of a larger scale for the top pieces that go on the main bridge of the gun. So like you did before, cut it out of the template, trace it onto a spare piece of styrofoam. With this one it can also be about 1/4 of an inch or maybe just under 1/2 an inch thick. It really depends on how chunky you want this prop looking. Then once you've carved it out of the styrofoam, you can now create an edge level. Now the edge level is where you determine how thick you want it. So like we said, either 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, it all depends on you. But use that process, and then you're going to need to start shaving back the excess foam to get the depth you want. Obviously we can't just cut straight through it because it's a bit too thick. So using the shaving and the exterior bevel technique, we can get that nice little piece that we need. As you can see, I'm just shaving off chunks of it, but making sure that I'm not exceeding my depth and cutting into the actual piece that I need. So do be careful, check where you're carving before you actually carve it, and remember that the blades don't quite like being bent on this angle, so watch out where your hands and your eyes are at all times. After you've managed to shave back all the excess foam, you can place it onto the prop. If it looks like it fits, then that's awesome, and now you can do it to the other side. Good luck. But no, you do have to mirror it on the other side, so just follow the exact same process. And now we get to do it for small little pieces such as the trigger, but that's actually an easier one. Pretty much follow the same process, but for a nice little tiny finger puller. So now we're going to start working on the lower handle where the magazine's head is popping out. So pretty much exactly like we just did in the last 3 segments, we're going to cut out the template, transfer it to the foam, cut out the foam, and then place it into location, and hopefully it fits, and if it doesn't, adjust if need be. Now we're going to start working on a bit more of the in-depth detail on this little piece. So grab the template and carve out these nice little segments, trace them onto your foam, and then we can give them edge lines, and then we can carefully bevel out those pieces of detail in the same technique that we've done for all the other little depth pieces on this prop so far. Hopefully you guys are becoming a bit of a pro at it now, so I don't need to explain it overly that much, but just enough so you know what we're doing at this exact point in time. So hopefully, because these aren't really that deep, you should be able to flick them out with ease. These should probably actually be one of the easiest parts of the prop, and it looks quite nice. So now what we can do is we can get all these little individual pieces and we can start gluing them onto the actual base just to make sure they're nice and secure, we don't damage or lose them. So I use a hot glue gun. Hot glue works perfectly fine for foam. It doesn't melt it and it permanently pretty much puts it on there. You'll have to really pull hard to get it off. So attach those 3 items and then the top bridge, and you can finally get a stand back view of what your prop looks like so far. So now we're going to work on the barrel section, which we actually left off in part 2. So all you want to do is take the basic form and carve a little semicircle into the top edge, where of course the barrel would be and the bullet would fly out. And you can just trim it to make it look easy and clean and just pop it out. And hopefully you have a nice little circle area which you can then glue on the top section and look quite nice. So on to more detail. We're going to grab the top segment. We're not done with it just yet, and we're going to carve off this little piece of detail which you've just seen me do, and you're going to now transfer it onto your foam and draw the outline. Now this is to give the top ridge a bit of a slight angle, because of course the Magnum, it has a nice kind of slope at the top, so we can add the edge line about a quarter inch in, and then we can do what we've been doing for the past 5 minutes in this video and just carve a nice slope. Now this one is a bit further than the basic quarter inch edge line, so you're going to have to slowly just shave away until you finally meet those two lines. Now do be very careful in this instance, because you want to keep that blade as straight as possible, because if you start carving on a weird angle or you carve too far, then you've just lost a nice symmetrical design and you've gone for a very indented, loopy looking thing. And then finally we can add the hand guard. Simply trace it onto the foam like we know how to do, and then carve it out. Now this doesn't have to be overly thick, so it should be easy to achieve, and then simply go ahead and glue it in position, and that should finalize your basic Halo Magnum tutorial so far. So congratulations guys, you made it to the end of the tutorial. Now I know you're probably wanting to go back and redo a bunch of things, because at the end of the day, this is a learning process. I mean, I've built over 400 of these props, believe it or not, over the past 5 years. I've built too many, and my fingers are very sore because of it, but I've learnt a lot, and I'm always learning on how I can change my craft, and that's something you guys are going to need to learn as well. Don't be bummed if your first prop or your first result out of the tutorial isn't quite up to your liking. Your second, your third, your fourth, your fifth, they will always get better, and eventually you will learn to love what you create, because you know it's going to get better in the end. So thank you very much for watching guys. I really hope you found it somewhat interesting and actually learned. And for those of you that followed along and actually produced something, I really hope you enjoy what you've done. And if you've got any friends or family or someone who wants to replicate this exact process or give it a go, definitely link the videos, share it around. I would love to get this out there so that more people can learn something new and have fun with a new artistic form that they've probably learning or trying for the first time. Otherwise, my name's Andrew Cook. It's been a pleasure teaching you guys this basic. You can now go apply it to anything else from the smaller to the larger, but I'll be there to help out. Otherwise, I'll catch you later.